Laurie Huston's News for the Heart is dedicated to helping you give a voice to your own soul. Our hearts have the power to free us from pain and the struggles that keep us from awakening to our true essence. Join Laurie now as we delve into our heart and soul to find the path that will open us to the possibilities and lead us to the life we love to live.
And good afternoon. This is News for the Heart. And, well, it's the second Tuesday, which means I have the awesome Tracy McBurney with me. And, well, of course, prior to every one of our shows, we like to talk about what's going to go on, kind of what's been happening in our lives. And, well, Tracy has a good example of something that I think a lot of us may have experienced, whether we climbed out of it or not, but we're going to look at expectations and where they can come from, and maybe how they help you see that sometimes our perceptions and our expectations are not actually real. And chances are they're probably never real. I think we kind of add in our own filters, but yeah. So welcome, Tracy.
Hey, Laurie. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to hear you.
Yeah, always. Okay, well, where you want to start?
Right. Well, I just thought, I've had this very interesting thing transpire with a younger client over the last couple of weeks. And this unfolded, it revealed itself so I could see something much more clearly than I'd ever been able to see it. And yeah, so I just thought we had a moment or two where I was explaining it to you before we got on this call, and it was meaningful. It was one of those little HSOMG moments, stands for holy shit, oh my God moments. That I was quietly feeling that as it was unfolding. And it was interesting because it was almost like the awareness was just kind of unfolding. So it wasn't a shock the way some of the things had been. It was almost like, oh, we're going to reveal this and reveal this and reveal this until it's all laid out like a pancake. And I'm just like, wow. So it was more like a wow moment than an HSOMG moment. But still, when I thought about it afterwards, I was like, it's a little bit of an HSOMG moment, but it unfolded like a wow moment, like, wow, interesting. So it really is about perception. It really is about expectation. And the way this one played out, it really played out in connection to rejection, in connection to feelings of unsafe, insecure, fearfulness, terrified. So the emotions of fear, the emotions of terrified, feelings of unsafe, insecure, in body, in self, with the world. This unfortunately, was a molesting moment that had occurred for this particular person. And it would have gone back to about, younger age of like 5 or 6 or 7. And this person had no idea that this had gone on. So was managing life with no idea that this had gone on for a lot of years, managing life, and not really having any context for why they were behaving in certain ways, or why they really had certain feelings, or why they felt so unsafe or so insecure, or why they were leaving their body so much or dissociating as much as they were. And so we were starting to really understand what had gone on. And so this was one of those moments where we're sitting here and we're back in that moment, that original unsafe moment, that original terrified, fearful, unsafe moment. And what started to reveal itself was this word rejection. We got there because this person was exploring this whole feeling of rejection, let's call it 20 years later, connected to a girl. And just kind of, it really felt like, no, we're told there's a spiritual piece here that needs to be understood. It was a spiritual root. And so we were led back to the spiritual root. It wasn't a physical root for what was going on with the symptomatology of this person with brain fog. So it wasn't about candida. It wasn't about fungus. The brain fog spiritual root was spiritual. And when we started to unpack it, we landed right back at this, let's call it 6 or 7-year-old moment, that this person had started to remember. And so we were back with rejection locked in there. So we're asking questions like, is this person at this age rejecting this person that's doing this? Is the rejection coming from there? No. The rejection was self-rejection. He was rejecting himself. He was rejecting his body. He was rejecting life. He was rejecting experiencing anything. He was leaving the body, wanting to get out, wanting to get off the planet, away. So there was also maybe a rootedness of abandonment, a rootedness of, what was the other one that came up? But it really was about rejection. So then we start to explore this. And what he said was, the earliest memories he had at that time were that he just had friends and people that were supposed to be his friends really rejecting him, really just not wanting anything to do with him. And he didn't know why. And I started to look at this and I went, well, if you're a cell in the universe and you've rejected yourself, and you are sending that out, like you've rejected your body, you rejected yourself, you've shut down, then what's happening is you're seeing a shutting down of relationships with the people around you, like the children around you. Those relationships are shutting down. And he's perceiving that as rejection, and he's perceiving that as abandonment, which he'd already done to himself. But he didn't know that he'd done that to himself. He didn't know any of what had gone on predated that was now affecting the cell of him floating in the universe. He had no idea. He just knew this is what he's experiencing. He had no explanation for it. The brain fog, the wanting to dissociate, not paying attention in school, not paying attention in class, can't learn, can't function. He had no understanding. But he was internalizing all of this as rejection. So they were showing me that what was happening at the time that all of this was happening is the survival mind kicks in, the emergency response amygdala survival mind starts to kick in, whether that's the judge, the controller, the avoider, the victim, like whatever the survival minds combination are kicking in, they are now holding him in this experience. They are now in charge of this experience. And maybe holding ego mind in this experience. So then we were looking at that. And we were looking at the absence of the sage self. We were looking at no emergency response system of the survival mind holding that was also reaching out to engage with the higher self, that was also reaching out to engage with the divinity within, the other aspects of us that are there in wholeness, but not being reached to. And so they were just showing me this. And so now what happens for this little kid is he has his first rejection moment, abandonment moment that he can recognize, because the rest of it's buried, because one of the survival minds at least has put it all into containment and buried it because it was so painful. Let's just bury it so he can't see it. So he can't get to it, so this won't destroy him. He has his first rejection moment, his burst of, and a second one from another friend. And so now what is he? But he's afraid of being rejected. He's afraid of being abandoned.
Of course.
And then what happens? He experiences another rejection moment. He experiences another abandonment moment. Well, why is he experiencing these? Because one or more of these survival brains have now placed filters on the eyes, have now placed filters on the ears, have now placed filters on what he reaches out to with his hands and his arms, maybe filters on the legs, what he walks towards, what he doesn't, filters into the gut. Hadn't thought about that until right now when I was talking to you, but it wouldn't surprise me if there were filterings going on in the gut. Filterings on the nose, filterings on the mouth, filters. Survival brains holding, survival brain holding, survival minds holding, and holding ego. And what is that? That is us becoming interference. This is the other thing I wanted him to see. It's us becoming interference to us, and interference to the healing for us, as all of this is being held from that place. And as long as we keep being held from that place, then we have become the very interference. So is that then a little bit of a spiritual autoimmune condition, where we then might, as we want to heal something, because that's what he's been doing for the last couple of years, trying to heal things, trying to get through to himself, trying to get in, get through, bring light in. And is that going against what is being held? So then you kind of think about that. You know, the survival mind's just holding. You know, they're in charge. They're in charge, maybe not recognizing anything else as a potential to be in charge. Anything else as a potential that might know more than they would know. And so we were looking at all of that and really seeing, wow, the rejection is looping. The feelings of abandonment are looping. Wow, you've had an experience with your new girlfriend where she says something a certain way. She doesn't actually operate the way you need her to operate in 2.5 seconds when you're upset about something. And you internalize that even though she's busy studying. And that's a really important thing for her to do, because she didn't drop that pen and come to your aid right then and there when you were in your suffering. You have now internalized that as, she is rejecting me.
Right.
And now the brain fog comes in. And now the programs that have all been designed by these survival minds come in to play. And he starts to get an answer for, oh, that's where the brain fog's coming from. And I'm leaving my body again. I don't want to be leaving my body. I want to be right here in bed with her. Why am I leaving my body? I mean, I'm upset about this, but I don't want to believe and nope, survival brain has just come in to anchor all of that, take charge of all of that. There's all sorts of programs involved in all of that. So then we also started to see, because again, the beautiful revealing of all of this, oh, so survival brain's been holding that for so long. How long does survival brain hold all of that before you've got darkness coming in to join it, like a scarecrow or like a crow on a scarecrow? How long do we hold these things before the survival brain and mind is no longer fully in charge of us? Before the ego's not in charge of this. Which means there's got to be a cleansing and clearing and depossession piece of work done for the survival minds and the survival brain, the amygdala of the brain, depossession done for the ego, maybe cleansing and clearing that, so that both of them can be restored to being in charge, so that maybe now we can get a releasing, a letting go, a thank you very much. But the lid needs to come back onto you, please, thank you. Because this person's making a different choice. This person wants this whole experience administered to by their sage self. This person wants this entire difficult, challenging experience administered to by the divinity within themselves.
Nice.
They are open to wanting all the divine knowings that could possibly be known from this experience to enter into them and to become embodied. That's what they want. And you, survival minds and survival beautiful brain and the emergency response system, are interfering. You have become interference. So just like the dark energies that are now holding on like crows on a scarecrow that are also interference, all of that is interference to what this person is wishing, wanting, and desiring, which is to know this aspect of themselves, to know what this aspect of themselves has to say on this, what colors, what words, what information, what flower essences, what gem essences delivered from within us would be brought to us to help to bring this time in our history to pure peace and restored to love with no judgment. So I love you, survival minds, but please get out of the way. I love you, things that are possessing my survival minds, but please get out of the way. Right now. I love you. I don't judge you. But you continuing to hold on to this is not okay. It's going to leave me looping, and it's going to leave me continuing to see. I want all these filters cleared right now. I know you meant well, and I know at that time I couldn't handle much of anything, and you didn't know this other aspect of me just the way I didn't know this other aspect of me. But I want all those filters cleared. I don't want to continue to be in situations where my girlfriend does this or she can't come to my aid in 2.5 seconds, and I internalize that as rejection. I internalize that as abandonment. I internalize that as I'm not loved. I internalize that as somebody who doesn't care about me. I don't want that.
I'm just thinking, wow, if I could have done this work when I was 26, that would have changed a lot of things.
Yeah, but if that's still looping, you can change it now.
Of course. I think we've worked on a lot of that stuff, right? But yeah.
But again, I'll say it because I just want to say it and say it and say it with thanks. With thanks to everything that stepped in the absence of the true divinity of me. With thanks to everything that took up those spaces until I could come to the place of knowing that aspect of myself exists and letting it take the place that all of you have been the space savers for. And it's a cool thing to say, my cells of my body, this is an embodied experience. My cells of my body need to be brought to a place where they can be the carriers of my light. And maybe that's one of the really cool reasons why we need to do a bit of changing of diet and things like that. Minerals are light carriers.
Interesting.
Like maybe we just need to, we needed to have some good sleeps with our guides and things working in the background, working to bring ourselves to a place where they could contain us and greater levels of embodied light information. Like it's almost like we can't carry us in body. And I don't know, I think for maybe hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, we were not here as humans in such an enlightened place. We were not here as humans carrying so much light within us. So the cells didn't have to carry that much light. So it's an interesting thing to really recognize, hey, it's not just about me changing my mind. It's not just about me going, I want to stop that looping. I understand this now. I get this now. I want to make these changes. I do these prayers. I say yes to all of this. It's like we have to have the cells of the physical body able to receive us, to receive that divinity of us coming into these places where other things are letting go. And then in that change, it's kind of about, I've been playing around with this concept of limited versus unlimited. And in this moment of this change where we have succeeded to see something differently in mind and in thinking. And we've succeeded at really making that shift and change and changing that in habit and bringing in the divine knowings that can come into body and anchor those which makes it much easier to make these changes. And then we're just kind of like, oh, yeah, never thought about this concept that the body, the physical body, the magnificence of the body has to maybe be given a few upgrades in its technology to be able to open to that much light. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's one of the reasons why this hasn't shifted as quickly as I wanted it to shift. This change hasn't taken hold.
Right.
Because maybe, interesting that we upgrade our computers, maybe the body needed an upgrade. I've done a lot of work with the idea of the mind, the upgrades of the mind, the upgrades of ego. I think I've said that in certain other places, the upgrades, the new versions for ego, so ego can embrace this connection between itself and divinity and not be afraid of love and light and all the things that we're talking about. But this is about, hey, you know what? This is a beautiful, magnificent body. And it's been here on the earth, a human form, maybe not carriers of light, for thousands of years. And maybe it needs a few upgrades to be able to become
the body of light.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, it's like, what do they say from quantum physics? Everything that's matter is densely packed light. So, you know, the body is light. But now we're talking about the body that is light now carrying more light.
Right.
Can it carry more light? Have we given it the upgrades so that it can carry more light? Have we even thought about that? Have we even sat down and said, please, thank you, I receive in the divine upgrades for this physical body being able to carry more light?
We need upgrades.
Well, look at, and don't you get upset, right? Another upgrade. Oh my God, they just want to make us obsolete. They just want to make my computer obsolete. That's it. It's all about these entitled billionaires. They just want to make everything obsolete, so we have to buy another one at twice the price, right? But I don't think this is about making us obsolete.
No.
This is about allowing us to become our best selves. The embodied version of our own light here on the planet. It's funny, years ago, I was listening to a talk, Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he was with Greg Braden, and they were together for the first time. They were in Santa Fe, New Mexico for the very first time they were coming together, and I had to go and see these men. And Liam was really little, and I'd never traveled on a plane before, and I was just like, I gotta go. And then I was going to rent a car for the first time ever on my own, all these firsts. And I was going to live with these people that my husband knew, but I didn't know. So now I'm going to live with strangers for a whole week. All these freaking things I was doing. It's like, I gotta go see these men. I gotta go see them on stage. I love them both. And I did all of these firsts at this time. And I had an amazing time, and landing in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Oh my God. I was like grounded, like I had never been grounded on this planet before. And I thought, this is my home. Like this, I'm actually feeling it embodied, that this is a place that I resonate with at Earth, like so much. And intuition was unbelievable. I mean, coincidences were unbelievable. It's like, there was just this connectedness that was going on all week. He was doing a lecture, that was Bruce Lipton, and he was doing a lecture, and he was doing this beautiful kind of history, kind of looking at humanity, like all these different stages of humanity, Homo sapien, sapien. He was saying, he had all these beautiful pictures. And then he comes up to today, Homo sapien, sapien. And then he's now got this human form, and he's kind of going, and we're now moving to become something new. But he didn't have a name for it. And it was just like, it just came right into me in that moment. It's just like Homoluminous. We're becoming Homoluminous. I wanted to share that with him. I wanted to get to him and say, look, I truly believe that's the name. I think that belongs there. It just came, it was just, I couldn't reach him.
No.
I couldn't get to him. Like the crowds were just huge. I could not pass that message to him. But to this day, it's like, that's what we're becoming, homoluminous.
Nice.
Homoluminous beings on this planet.
Wow.
And how do we become that? We can't become that without this human body, human template being upgraded, a new version of it. And I'm not talking about AI, and I'm not talking about freaking computers coming in and joining with humans and all the craziness that they're talking about. I'm talking about us, the divinity of us, joining with the human template. Effortlessly, harmoniously joining with the human template. That's where we're going.
Wow.
That's another option for what is possible on this planet, other than what somebody crazy people are envisioning with computers joining with blah, blah, blah. We're going to be giant computer takeover beings. It's like, no, we're going to be much wiser, much smart, much more wisdom available to us in human form that has been made available to us in human form, because all the universe's wisdom is available to that divinity aspect of ourself. But not that all of that wisdom is something we engage with all moments. That would be the arrogant mistake of the lady in the Skulls movie who went, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, and her brain exploded. It's like, no, I have access. I have access to all of this wisdom, but I'm not bringing it all in. Yeah. Tell me what I need to know. Let it pop into my head what I need to know. I just need to know what I need to know. Bring me in what is needing to be healed today. Help me to understand that. Help me to reveal that, like that beautiful wow moment. Like, that's what I want for the doctors. That's what I want that's what I want for all of us. That we would have all of these wow moments. I had a wow moment with this client where I just sat with him, sat with his heart, had that beautiful cord connecting my heart to his heart, that light within heart, and all of this because it was just time. It was time for this to be revealed. There was lots of stuff that had gone on before this for him that had to be put into place first, but it was time for that beautiful blossom to just go, wow, wow. And all the thank yous and all the closing of doors and all of the putting down the lids of yeah, let's just let that divinity in. And did he have to do some work to do some antifungal work, some cleanup work, some stuff, some B12 work, some stuff? Yeah, but I didn't know we were preparing for this. I had no idea that that's one of the things that needed to happen so that we could get his cells to the place where they could make this shift. Extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
So I like saying it out loud, because then somebody might listen to this and go, well, that's what I want. Yeah. I want that upgrade for my, if that's a possibility, I want that upgrade for my body. I want that new version of my body, the human template, having a new version for itself so I can bring more of my own light in. I want that. I'm saying yes to that. Yeah. I'm saying yes to releasing any blocks, any stuff that's in the way, any of my own interference, possessing me possessing me, not something else possessing me possessing me with that interference. And not because something was trying to hurt or harm me, because something was trying to save me instead of allow me to heal something and allow light to come into something. I don't want to be saved in that way, so I'm just held to infinitum and I loop a whole bunch of garbage. I don't want to be saved like that. I want all of that with my thanks to free me. And if that locked it all up can't free me because something's engaged with them, so they're not in charge, then I want that moved with my thanks. Because that that was linked in to that which could have freed me, but can't, because it's now all trapped. That's just made the whole experience bigger.
Right.
That's just made the whole experience more problematic. So that's why I want to thank it. Because you made this so atrociously more awful and atrociously more repeating and bigger, and the anger bigger, and the fear bigger, and the terror bigger, and all that. I just say thank you. What a good job you did. Because you kind of brought me to my knees of saying, I want more. I deserve more. I deserve better than this. Like, even though I might have a low sense of self-worth, I deserve better than this.
Right.
So I would say thank you to all of it. And what does Greg Braden say about that when he talks about the Dead Sea Scrolls and he talks about humanity being in 7 wars? That's the translation. He said 7 wars, humanity, and 3 that were won by darkness and 3 that were won by light. And the 7th war, where there was no winning and no losing, it would be completed through triumph. And humanity would not triumph without the reclaiming of the divinity within themselves. And I'm going, I think we're in that 7th war.
I think so too.
So I think talking about the divinity, talking about the sage self, talking this way, trying to make it really simple.
Yeah.
Just really lovely, deliciously simple. And maybe that's because I'm just not as brilliantly intellectually smart as, some of these other people that I love to listen to. And who knows, maybe I just came here to make things simpler. Maybe I have a brain that can't take in all of that complicated. I can take it in to a certain extent, and then I can just watch myself go sideways. It's like, this is too much. This is just too much. I could never be a doctor. This is just too much. This is too much information trying to go into my brain, trying to be held there. I just can't.
Because we don't need to.
Well, I mean, it's why I loved Bruce Lipton and why I loved Greg Braden, because they could take on mass amount of information. And then what they did is they just brought it into this really beautiful, simplified package that I was like, thank you very much. I can totally understand this.
Yeah.
And then from that place, I could go out a little bit more. I could go, oh, I can go out a little bit more. I can see a little bit more. I can, yeah, but thank you for taking me here first. Yeah, and it feels like this that we're talking about today is just a really simplified version of some things that I've heard that were quite a bit more complicated.
We like to make things complicated. Just like whenever somebody says, oh, it's really simple. Oh, yeah, it's extraordinarily simple. It may not be easy, but it's so simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that idea. I love the idea of the light body and getting an upgrade.
Or a new version.
That's right.
Right.
Whatever
There was a couple of times with ego, I kept saying upgrade. And then there was one day when I was talking and it was like, no, new version. New version. And it's like, I never talked like that before, but it was a new version of ego. Like, again, think about new versions of software. It's not just upgrade. It's like, no, now it's a whole new version.
Right.
Well, okay, then now we're doing something big. Now we're both getting a new version of software package for itself to be governed by. Yeah, interesting.
Fascinating.
Well, it's an interesting thing to contemplate, because we are changing. We are changing. This is an ascension cycle time that we're in, and we're not getting out of it. We are in it.
Right.
And so to think, oh, we're going to change our diet, we're going to completely, beautifully acid alkaline balance our diet. We're going to change it all into mineral rich foods. We're going to get all of the stuff cleaned up. We're going to get all of the dirt out of the foods that we're eating. We're going to eat clean, and that's going to be the big solution. And I'm like, well, yeah, we could do that. Yeah, we could do more of that. I could do more of that. I'm a nutritionist. I could do more of that. But I really like the concept of, you know what, but we could do this. We can bring in new versions of software into the human blueprint that can just really, whether I'm eating clean or whether I'm not, carry more light. And then I can eat things that have more minerals in them. I can download minerals from the universe. I can download everything from the universe.
Right.
But I thought it was very interesting because it is a struggle to eat clean. It is a struggle to, and it's interesting too. I mean, eating clean and being a type O, like I do think that some of this type O diet stuff, it is for me. I do recognize that there are foods that they do say are good for somebody in a type O blood and are not. And I have to tend to agree.
Me too.
to some of that. And so I am a meat eater. Dairy doesn't work so well for me. So when I eat less of it, and I notice when I can have some lentils, but if you give me a lot of them, it's just, no, it just doesn't go right. Doesn't feel good. So then it becomes, in this whole world of let's get the meat out of the world. Let's put all sorts of judgment on the meat. Let's put all sorts of judgment on this. I'm like, wait a minute. So those are some of my foundational things that you're pointing fingers at. So I don't know, it's going to be interesting, but I like this idea of, I've liked it for a long time. This idea of a version of human template downloaded. I call them when I'm teaching a class, master folder downloads, divine master folder downloads of information coming right in to be embodied into the system. So we have to be made ready for that. We have to be ready for that. And some of the reasons that we are ready for that is because we're so frustrated with how things are going. So we're ready for something new. We're ready for the change.
Right.
Yeah, it's, anyway, I think there's going to be an interesting time.
I think so too. I think we're in very interesting times. It feels like we're kind of it feels a little restrictive right now, but I can tell that it's gonna shift. But there's something that it feels like almost like a pressure right now. But I do know that it's the pressure before the release or something. But I can feel that that's good.
Interesting that you say that, because some would call it the pressure before the storm.
Yeah.
Like the pressure before the release. I'm like, okay, all right, I like that better.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping the storm doesn't happen, although I'm not entirely convinced it won't yet, but still, I know that we're definitely heading towards a release. Who knows? But yeah, I agree. We're in the seventh war for sure, I think.
I think so. And I think we're also in what Bruce Lipton would call the chrysalis caterpillar phase, where, there we are in the cocoon and everything's turning to goo.
Right.
Oh, more goo? Waking up more goo? Okay, yeah. What's changing now? The whack-a-mole game? What's not around anymore? So anyway, it's an interesting time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think this is a good show. Are you feeling complete?
You know what? I think I'm good. I mean, I could bring up something else, but I think it would take us another 45 minutes. I don't think you're appreciating it, so I won't. I'll keep it for the next show.
Okay. All right. Well, you've been listening to News of the Heart with Tracy McBurney. We've been getting the heart of what matters, and we're looking at, well, I like the human Homoluminous.
Homoluminous. Us.
Yes, I love it. All right.
Coming Homoluminous. Yeah, I never did pass that through to him. I don't know if he gets that now himself.
Maybe.
I think that's what we're becoming.
I think I like it. All right. We'll be back next month. Thank you, Tracy.
Bye.